Howdy, this is Criteria Grinding, back again with an arena cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today I cover my round 1 thoughts for the new Black Widow, Clairvoyant, and Hela arenas. So the first thing I always like to do is bucket these arenas to past arenas, as that allows me to take a look at those past arenas results to kind of get an idea of what we might be able to see or might expect this time around. And with Black Widow, obviously she's new to the game, so she's going to fall into that new bucket. Really, with featured champions, there's either a new bucket or old bucket. Now, within those buckets, there's a little variation, and I kind of go through those as I go through the videos. But the first thing is to kind of bucket those, and obviously with Black Widow Clairvoyant, she is new to the game. And then with the 4-star basic, really there's 3 types, low, medium, high interest, and in the case of Hela, she falls into that low interest bucket. Even though she's a great champ, I mean a good champ, I won't call her great. A lot of good champs come through the 4-star basic. They've been in game for a while, and they all kind of fall into this low interest category anyway. So now that I've bucketed these arenas, let's take a look at some of those past arena results to get an idea of what might happen. So first, starting with the 4-star basic low interest, you can see Juggernaut, some of the recent example of champs that fell into this bucket. You've got Juggernaut, Phoenix, but even more recently with, still relevant and newer champs, but still been in the game for a while, we've got Mephisto and Sabretooth. And when you look at these numbers, they're all kind of in that same ballpark, from a low 1.6 million. We did have the oddball that went all the way to 1.7 with Mephisto, but for the most part you see that we're talking anywhere from 1.6 to roughly 1.65, and that's a pretty consistent trend. I mean, sure, I only got 4 results here, but looking at results before these, they're pretty much in that same boat. It's with the new feature arenas where it gets a little bit more interesting. Starting first, with a 3-star feature. This is rather consistent, anywhere from 1.3 to 1.4 million for the first round, and then it drops in the second. Then when you take a look at the 4-star feature, you can see that you get a little variation, and you just have some oddballs that occur in this arena. So you have Stealth Suit Spider-Man, Mephisto, Sunspot, kind of all around that 11 million to 12 million range, but then Warlock comes along and drops down below 10 million for some reason, and there's no reason why, because Warlock is just as good as champ as most of these guys. Maybe not as good as Stealth Suit Spider-Man, in my opinion, probably the best out of these 4, but still, there's no reason why he drops so much. So occasionally you'll get some oddball occurrences, but for the most part you can expect anywhere from 11 to 12 million for the 4-star new 4-star feature arena results, or cutoffs I should say. Then you get a lot of variation when it comes to the 5-star feature arena, but as you can see here with Stealth Suit Spidey, not Mephisto, but Mysterio and Warlock, you can see that it's been around 50 million, but almost to 60. So anywhere from between 50 and 60 million, with Warlock kind of here recently not making that 60 million. Then that's really kind of when you get 60 plus, is that really high tier champ, where you've seen champs like The Thing, Call Obsidian, Namor, they all kind of get above 60 million. I'm not sure Black Widow Clairvoyant falls into that bucket. I think there's interest for her, but I think it's going to be very similar interest to Warlock. And in my opinion, that makes sense, because in my opinion, they're the similar type of champ. They're not great, but they have good utility. They got certain scenarios where they'll be great. I would probably say Warlock's a tad bit better, but I think Clairvoyant's, there's a lot of folks in the community interested in her. Animations are awesome, and I mean Warlock's animations are pretty good too. But I would actually, despite how good I think his animations are, I do think Black Widow's animations are a little bit better. But anyway, I think she's going to fall in that bucket. So, and you probably already have a good idea what I'm going to say here coming up, but here are my predictions for round 1 of the new Black Widow, Clairvoyant, and Hela arenas. Starting first with a 5-star feature, I think it's going to be, like I just was talking about a few minutes ago, I think we're going to look at a very similar Warlock score. I think we're looking at 50 million for the 5-star feature arena. I think we're looking at 11.5 for the 4-star feature, and I think we're looking at 1.65 for the 4-star basic Hela arena, and lastly, I think we're looking at 1.3 for the 3-star feature arena. Now, these cutoff predictions are for the veterans bracket, and these are actually these predictions I try to get, within 5 to 10% of the cutoff. So if you really want to make sure you don't miss out on these champs, here are the grind targets I think you go to. And again, this is for the veterans bracket, similar to those cutoff predictions. And what veterans bracket means is your account's been open for over 60 days. If you've got a newer account than that, you're going to be in one of the earlier brackets, and I'll cover what my thoughts are on those here in a minute. But anyway, for grind targets, this is what's going to get you safer. Nothing's guaranteed with these arenas because for whatever reason, you can have some real strange exceptions from time to time. Obviously, I don't think it's going to happen this time, or I'd mention it, but you never know. But with that being said, I think if you really want to give yourself a better chance to get the 5-star feature, new Black Widow, I think you should go to 62 million. I think you should go to 12.2 million for the 4-star feature. I think you only need to go to 1.8 million for the 4-star Hela. You should go to about 1.4, maybe 1.42 for the 3-star new Black Widow. Now, again, these grind targets and predictions are for the veterans bracket when it comes to the earlier brackets. So the beginner brackets are for brand new accounts up to 30 days, and the intermediate bracket is for accounts that are open 31 to 60 days. And it means from the time the account was opened and not how long you've been playing. If you opened the account a year ago and jumped back in, but never really did anything, but then jumped back in a year later, guess what? You're in the veterans bracket. So anyway, with the beginners bracket and intermediate bracket, as you can just tell with how these are set up, there's a lot of volatility week to week as people move between the different brackets and eventually get to veterans brackets. So it's hard to get a good feel on how many people are actually qualifying and really grinding in these arenas. And then the results, there's no consistent place that people share those. From time to time, people in the community share the results of my videos, which helps a lot when I look in the comment section, so I can kind of get a sense of what's currently going on. But other than that, that's really the only source of these. So with that being said, these numbers are pretty much guesstimates based off of a limited set of recent results, so kind of bear that in mind. But like I always say, the good news about these arenas, all these numbers, all the way to the 4-star feature for the intermediate bracket, all of them are within the milestone rewards. And if you get a newer account, you're always going to want to get as many of those milestone rewards as you can, as they're going to really help your roster progress. So with all that being said, with the beginner's bracket, 3-star feature, I think you need to go about to 245, 4-star basic, 800,000, 8-star. 5 years from now, we'll be talking about the 8-star feature. But anyway, for the 4-star feature in the beginner's bracket, we're looking at about 1.4 million. And the intermediate bracket, 3-star feature, about 500,000. For the 4-star basic, 1 million. And lastly, for the 4-star feature in the intermediate bracket, again, meaning your account's been open 31 to 60 days, we're looking to get that new Black Widow. It'll be 1.5, maybe 1.6 million. So anyway, these are my thoughts for round 1 of the new Black Widow, Clairvoyant, and Hela arenas. I'd love to hear your opinion, especially if it's different than mine. Throw it on down in the comment section. We can discuss it there. Throw your questions down there as well, and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Other than that, if you find this video information helpful, would really appreciate if you click the like button, as that helps the channel out a lot. And if you like this video and other videos and you haven't yet subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you would. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a great day.